Paris, city of light. A landscape for lovers, artists and combat cane enthusiasts.
The aesthetic element is really important. It's a very spectacular sport because it's not meant for self-defense, but rather for competition or pleasure. We emphasize the aesthetic nature of the movements to make them visually appealing, so that people feel they're doing something beautiful. Maybe not effective, but certainly beautiful.
Frédéric Morin is the president of the Paris-based Combat Cane Sporting Association, known by its French initials ASCA. If you like the demonstration you've just seen, he'll be absolutely delighted. His sport may be almost unheard of, even in France, but he's doing everything possible to bring it to the attention of the general public. We wanted to know more about combat canes, but before he could take up his weapons, Frédéric needed to get changed. He uses handball shoes to provide sufficient grip during bouts, and that's just the start.
Our equipment includes a padded jacket, trousers and gloves that are specially made for this sport. The helmet is a modified fencing helmet with some extra padding at the top and at the front to avoid injuries.
Frédéric himself was introduced to the sport when, as a student, he wanted to start fencing, but was discouraged by the cost of a sword. The teacher suggested he try combat canes instead, where the sticks are available very cheaply. From first sight, Morin was hooked. For another combatant, the very simplicity of the canes is a big part of their appeal.
The main advantage of this sport is that it's so accessible. You only need a cane and a few lessons, and then you can go and do it almost wherever you want. You can go for a walk in the woods with some friends and just have a few bouts with the canes without being too violent. You find a quiet space, and you just mess about with the canes. It's aesthetic, and it's just great.
Like many martial arts, respect for one's opponent is a principal tenet. Each bout begins and ends with the traditional salute. Visually, this discipline has a certain similarity to kendo and fencing. However, the joy for many canistes, as the combatants are known, is that this sport is much more fluid and uninhibited than others. In particular, canistes are encouraged to jump to avoid blows to the legs.
I fenced for 4 years. In fencing, everything happens along a straight line, and you're limited by the wire you drag behind you. With the cane, you have much more space to move around. There's a circle, 9 meters in diameter. Within that, you move as much as you want, in all directions. You have more freedom to do what you want, and I really like that.
There can be few people who, while growing up, didn't pick up sticks and enjoy a mock duel with a friend. Though this sport allows adults to tap into that sense of fun again, there is a definite underlying structure and discipline. The canes are 96 centimeters in length, and a caniste may use 1 or 2 at any one time. Combatants may only use 6 prescribed striking blows. Mastering these maneuvers takes a little time for a novice. As well as a cane, a 140 centimeter staff is sometimes used. Although additional striking blows are permitted with this, because of the increased danger of the weapon, it's reserved solely for practice and is not used during competition. There are 3 target zones that score points during competitive bouts. The head, above the ear level, the chest, and the lower leg, including the calf area. Bouts comprise 2 rounds, each up to 3 minutes in duration, with a referee adjudicating. In the 19th century, this area of Paris around Boulevard Saint-Martin was the home of several combat cane academies. In those days, the area was plagued by criminals, and the cane was taught very much as self-defense. It was closely associated with savate, French boxing. In savate, legs as well as fists are employed. By using a stick, combatants had 3 defined striking ranges: arm's length, the length of a leg, and the length of an arm and stick together. The academies are long gone now, and today it's estimated that there are less than 2,000 canistes in France. Morin is trying to change that and runs several classes each week. He's passionate about the cane and what he thinks it can offer.
I'd like it to become a really popular sport, especially amongst young people and children, because it's just a fantastic pastime and teaches you so much. I'd like more adults to take part as well, because you really can get into the sport so quickly. You can practice with someone as soon as you grab a stick. In a word, I'd like the sport to become more popular than it is now.
Frédéric Morin and his canistes have their fellow Parisians in their sights. And if they succeed in their promotional battle, combat canes won't be France's secret sport for very much longer.
Cut there. Okay, that's great, guys. Thank you.
Now for the rest of this week's news.